I do intend to establish an international Ethiopian reggae festival. So, based upon my connection, my knowledge, experience with PA system and all of that, I do believe that we can have a successful event. And this year too, this year.
As many can testify, you are a very creative handyman and technician.
Thank you.
Can you point out a few obvious common sense solutions to some everyday problems in Addis you have thought about? Because I'm sure you've gone to different places and you'd be like, why did they have to do this way when they could have, we might have a lot of those.
Definitely so. Based upon my contractors' ability and work, I've seen a lot of finish or unfinished issues. The finishing in terms of the work. The work is good, but the finishing, there is a lot of issues. And maybe they're not really paying so much attention to details. So in those areas, as a skilled tradesman, if I can work with individuals who are in that skills onset, then yes, I can definitely make suggestions based upon the American and Canadian standard.
Right.
Because obviously the Ethiopian culture and way of doing things may not necessarily be of
detail-oriented,
but especially within health and safety. Because in every job, especially on the construction site, being from Canada and America, they do put great emphasis on health and safety.
Absolutely.
For the workers. As a carpenter, as a contractor, I made a few bus fingers with the hammer, but I still have all the digits.
Right.
Whereas some people has experienced some accidents.
Yeah, major accidents.
Yeah. And sometimes it's not very pretty when you see someone in that situation with an accident. Because of using power tools and such alike, it is very important for one to stay vigilant and focus, And this is just a part of what I can say. In terms of what I've observed, many things can be done in terms of infrastructure and also for job creation. And may I say also for revenue for the country. I'm walking and I'm trying to cross the street on the crosswalk. And none of the cars would stop. The pedestrian has the right of way. This is what I learned in driving school. And on Ethiopian grounds, to pass on the crosswalk, you almost have to take your life risky into your own hands and dodging cars. Some of the cars, they actually beep their horn and speed up. And I just point my finger and keep walking. Knock me over then. They screech to a stop. Right there I see job creation. I don't know if they need to hire some other crosswalk controller. I see sometimes they have someone who's standing there and stop the traffic and said, you may pass.
Yeah, we do have a lot of volunteers that do that. But they also have issues. People don't listen to them because they're young.
The government, I will take it one step further. Then I said job creation, yes. Innovation. We need to start changing our way of thinking then.
Absolutely.
If this is somewhat of an issue, thank God nobody hasn't died as yet. But when a serious problem like that arises, the government must take serious issues and start issuing tickets. Now, in that case, it's bring revenue for the country. If you hit them in their pocket, they'll never do it again. That's just one example of what I've observed.
I got you. How did you end up in Ethiopia? from a potential list of 54 African countries, other countries.
Very good question.
Was it as it was expected? Was it as you expected? Was there a difference between the real and imagined Ethiopia?
So that one question has like a few parts to it. Okay, so because of that project, Stand Up for Ethiopia, once it was released and sent, by the way, I must also big up JB Dan from London, England.
Okay.
Is videomasters.com. Because on that project, Stand Up for Ethiopia documentary, I was merely the audio specialist or the audio engineer and technician studio-wise. The visual aspect of that video was done in London, England, while I was still in Canada. So respect to JB, and all the editing work and putting together the various artists in the right position where they appear on the song, on the track. Now, once it was sent to Ethiopia, it was played, as far as I understood, on ETV for Mezcal celebration on the year 2021. So now, December, I think it was maybe 3 months after it was released. I'm in Canada, yet still, and another call came again from Shashamani, the same Jasmine Rowe.
Okay.
It was mentioned to me by telephone. The Prime Minister made a call for 1 million diaspora people to come home to celebrate Timket. Once I heard that, for me, come home, oh,
I know,
for
right?
the last 35 years. See my dreadlocks? All the way down to my knee. This is a total representation of how I am in Canada for the last 35 years. I wear the banner. This is the flag of Ethiopia. It's not the hat of Jamaica. Most people, they see us Rastafarians and they consider, oh, that Jamaican hat. No, it's the flag of Ethiopia. So we represent Ethiopia in the West every single day. Having said that, when the Prime Minister made such a call for the diaspora to come home, 1 million, I count myself as one in one of those million. Yes. 3 weeks after, I arrived in Ethiopia. At the time, the Ethiopian Airlines had a reduced discount rate on the ticket, and they were having special arriving ceremonies for the diasporans. However, I did not make it on time. I did not make it at the right moment. I came a week after. So I paid full fare, and I shipped my entire house, 39 years, all of what I have accumulated, music equipments, instruments, studio recording stuff, contractors, tools for me to do painting, and all the stuff, my entire life, I shipped air cargo to Ethiopia. I'm coming home. I saw myself as a Cushite. A Cushite, even before Nubian. I'm a Cushite. We originate from motherland Africa and brought to the Caribbean. And my ancestral DNA is telling me it's time to go. 39 years in Canada, and in a few months' time, I'm going to make 40 years. I said, no, I don't want to do that in Canada. I want to do that in Ethiopia. 40 years celebration abroad since I left my island. I'm going to do that in Ethiopia. So I came January 29th of 2022. The reason why I came, because I'm a Rastafarian, we've been always preaching, teaching, talking about Ethiopia. We have dreams, desire, wanting, a longing to repatriate. And many Rastafarians throughout the world, we are all looking towards Ethiopia. So, coming here, it is my first time, never been here on vacation, never visit, didn't know anything about Ethiopia, but I've always advocated for Ethiopia in the presence of the white man. I'm a member of the 12 Tribes of Israel, an organization. And I was one of the priests of the organization, functioning in the tribe of Naphtali. So, once I arrive in Ethiopia, all my stuff is still stuck at the cargo, even until now. I try to explain my reason for being here. First and foremost is because of the call from the Prime Minister, Dr. Abiy Ahmed. And I answered to that call, and I brought all the stuff that is necessary for me to be an entrepreneur, to do job creation, to be a mentor, a teacher, and even to assist in making the Ethiopian musicians, artists, singers, performers, the Ethiopian traditional instruments I would like to work with. I'm only one person, I can't do it alone. So my reason for being here is to now take my knowledge, experience, and all of that 39 years in Canada and now make a difference for my country, for Ethiopia.
That's beautifully said. I have to say welcome.
Thank you. I'm a Saganello. Yes. Which means that it's going to lead me on to the next thing, what you ask about in terms of disappointments or regrets or something of that nature in your question. I could have gone to Mozambique because in Mozambique I had already established there an incorporated enterprise, Salome and Buxy Roots Incorporated. I have all my material and musical instruments and all of that as an asset for me to be self-reliant and self-sufficient in the country. However, I choose to come to Ethiopia based upon the call of Prime Minister Dr. Abiy Ahmed. Knowing very well for 35 years I've been talking, teaching, preaching about Ethiopia.
So when you heard
I had a dream one time when I was about 10 years old. On the island, I was looking across the Atlantic Ocean trying to see Mother Africa, and I couldn't. So I grew up with this dream always that I must go to Africa, I must repatriate to Africa. Now I choose Ethiopia, but upon arriving in Ethiopia, based upon what I was told.
So were any of these people that told you able to help you or
No.
assist you or guide you in any way?
What I was told from Canada and what I believed, I came naive, as a naive person. I'd never been here before. I didn't know anything about Ethiopia except for what I was doing from Canada. Upon arriving, yes, I was told by Ambassador Jasmine Rowe that she could help me to clear my stuff out of cargo. Maybe I would have never left Canada if I wasn't sure or convinced by her that it would have been okay. When I got here, they don't know her. When I said Ambassador Jasmine Rowe, they said, who? I said, Ambassador Jasmine Rowe. She helping me to... I said, she's right here. The person looked at her and said, I'm sorry, we don't know her.
Wow.
Now, may I make a disclaimer at this moment? I'm not trying to bash anyone. I'm not trying to bash the country in any way. My situation, it might seem as though it's a little bit political in a sense, but not really, because I'm coming from the heart, and I'm also speaking the truth. I did come here without knowing any Amharic, so even hello, thank you, or just simple words.
You learned here when...
I must say to the rest of the world who might see this particular interview, do your homework. Research more about the lifestyle and the levity here in Ethiopia, not based upon what we heard from abroad by someone else. Because that's where I totally went off the rail.
You know, when we had that conversation, of course, the first question I had asked you was, did you confirm with the Ethiopian embassy? But you said no. And then I thought about it, and the way I interpreted it was that you, as a Rastafarian, heard a call, and you just ran with the call.
Wow.
There was nothing that you needed to prove.
It was the best opportunity of my life.
Exactly. And as a Rasta, when you hear that, why would you want to prove it? You were called, so you just ran.
Yeah.
You just
and
came.
Brought all the stuff
exactly
based upon the documentary. Yeah. What can I now turn around and do for the country from within, not from abroad?
From outside, yeah.
Yeah?
You've proved what you could do from outside. Now you're here to work.
Make a difference.
Absolutely.
From internal. And still to support the No More hashtag movement, the government, and to send back to Jamaica, to America, Canada, England, stuff, songs, production from Ethiopia to say, no, none of what you are claiming is correct. Here's the real deal. All right, so jump forward a bit. In terms of disappointment, at the cargo, they never told me or told us, because Madame Jasmine was there as well. They never told us that if you let these stuff stay here for more than 6 months, that there will be a problem. They told me to go off, go to the government offices and get some supporting documents so that I can clear the stuff from cargo duty-free, tax exemption. So I ran off. So I went to ask for exemption. They sent me all around Addis Ababa. By doing that, the time had now passed more than 6 months. So when I went back to the Goombrook cargo, to where I left the stuff, it's not there no more. So I tried to inquire, well, where are the things? They told me, oh, it's over in confiscation. And my head just, I lost it. In confiscation. I know what that word means. You're taking my stuff.
Right.
So I left and I went to confiscation department. Upon arriving in that area that they call confiscation, when I walk in, I see a sign that says abandoned goods. That was another disappointment again. I did not abandon my stuff.
You're right.
So I tried, went upstairs to the manager and this and that, asking for assistance. None. Eventually, I saw my things on shelf as if it was for auction. So I realized they're really serious here. They're going to take my stuff. And all my life, however I accumulated those stuff, I said I break my finger already with the hammer. Blood, sweat, and literally tears sometimes. Now they want to take my stuff. Okay, I finally get them to give me a total for the taxes and the duty so that I can just finish with this story. I still believe that the amount is too much, it's too high, based upon the fact that some of these equipment I do own for like 30 years. So that's discontinued.
It doesn't exist anymore.
And the depreciated value So now, how much taxes are you going to charge me on this particular thing? More so, all the accumulation, right? Eventually, when I went there, I saw my things on display as if they were up for auction. And that, I couldn't understand how, from one department to the other, that the information was not passed along. So, when I went back again, they finally gave me a price, a total, for taxes and duty. But I still think that is too much. Some of the stuff I do own is like 30 years old. It's discontinued.
So did you ask them how they came up with that price?
No. I remember speaking to one manager of that department, said to me that another lady is assigned to go through the database and come up with an amount. Now they have finally given me that amount, but I'm saying it's still too much.
So maybe you could sit down and talk to them and go through each item, because I have a feeling they check online.
They
right?
did.
That's the only way that they can find out the prices.
I saw one of the agents looking on eBay.
Yeah.
And I know what eBay is. You can't be searching on eBay to find the price of a value of a stuff that has been. They don't manufacture these things anymore. It's analog. We're in a digital world now, and AI and those kind of stuff. My aim is, eventually, I would like to be an ambassador. Because I have a lot of Jamaican people, not only Jamaica, but throughout the Caribbean, USA, Canada, England, Honduras, Belize, Panama, all over the world, even in Europe, Switzerland, Holland, and these countries, they are Rastafarians, people who exemplify themselves as Ethiopians. Even if he's a white man, I'm not afraid to say that. He has a Rasta. He's saying His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I. He's talking about Ethiopia and wanting to repatriate. That's the new thing in the Pan-Africanism at the moment. Repatriation. I have managed to repatriate it, but reparation is coming next. They need to repair what they have done for over 400 years. Having said that, why I'm saying this is because, imagine, when Prime Minister Abe had called for 1 million diaspora people, imagine if we had 100 people between Trinidad and Tobago. Because remember, Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaicans came to help His Imperial Majesty against the Italians. Right. His Majesty visited Jamaica and said, these are my people. Now, if 100 people did come on that call from Dr. Prime Minister Abe, there would be fights. There would have been problems. It would have been chaotic up in that Groombrook. Because not every person is composed, or the composure with patience would not have been the same like I am. It's been a year and 2 months already, and I cannot rectify that problem. So in a sense, my feelings or my sentiments about Ethiopia, it's conjo, beautiful, I love it. But the Ethiopian government does not have anything in place to receive from the diaspora, not original Ethiopian born diasporans who left Ethiopia and lived abroad, but for us, children of descendants of slaves who desire,
to come back
who
home.
dream, who are longing to come to Ethiopia, the motherland. There is Yelem, nothing in place to receive us. And this is what I realized because I came on a naive, uneven playing field. I just came. Now, there are other peoples who have the same desire and inspiration and motivation and wanting and longing and all these things for Ethiopia. which means that there should be some agency
certain things in place.
or me.
Yeah, there's certain
I
things
could
in
be the representative. Call me. I would tell you what's going on underground, and I would tell you the truth also. When I'm here in Addis Ababa and I walk past, people, they respect me and they acknowledge me, and I'm appreciative of that. Next thing they say, Shashamani, I say, no, Addis Ababa. And they found it really strange because most of the Rasta people want to go to Shashamani. Shashamani is known internationally.
Exactly.
However, from the time I arrive in Ethiopia and visit Shashamani, what we hear and what we know outside, what I have seen there, it's not a place for me to settle. I have lived for 39 years in metropolitan major cities, Montreal, Toronto, New York, London, France. So I'm not feeling Shashamani at all. And I would love the rest of the world to understand a few things before they do decide to pick themselves up and just come. You have to have a bag of money. You need to know some of the language.
Or people.
You need to have some skills to be independent, because when you come here, if you don't speak the language, ain't nobody gonna hire you. And if you don't have no skills, you cannot be self-sufficient or self-reliant in order to live or to continue to survive. There are things that we need to talk about. You need to call me. I'm the new ambassador for the diaspora. People in Jamaica, Trinidad, Antigua, Barbuda, St. Vincent, Grenada, Barbados. And if I don't call your country, don't take it personal. It's just too many of we.
Yes.
And we want to come home. I'm sending an invitation for the rest of you to follow my lead. Ethiopia is awaiting her creators. Ethiopia, stretch forth her hand. We must come home. Thank you.
Thank you very much for tuning in and watching your show Africa with Kulai.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Rastafari.
Appreciate it.
Since I arrived here, I was pronounced with the name Ashanafi. So I am Kulai Ashanafi.
Brilliant. And you know what Ashanafi means, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having me.
Well, it was our utmost pleasure. Thank you again for tuning in. This is your Pan-African show called Africa with your host Katsalawork Seifu. Our show will be on Saturdays from 4 to 5 on Arts TV. Thank you again for tuning in.
Big up Arts TV, and much respect and much love. We love you all.